What's going on, my good people? Just gonna wait for people to come on here. It's ice cream and chill today. How is everybody doing? Where's everybody coming from? Let me know where you're from. This ice cream is from a Russian brand, one that we get here locally. It's full fat. Nothing too bad in it, actually. It's pretty much just as good as the vanilla Haagen-Dazs. I think it's just guar gum that's inside, which is a bit crappy. But until we're making our own, I think this is going to do for now. UK, Brooklyn, Trinidad. Welcome, welcome. How am I finding Russian brand foods? I'm currently in Azerbaijan. This is where I currently live. So it's very, very close to Russia. So there's a lot of Russian imported foods here and they're really, really good. Russian imported foods are very good. You know, you get a lot of good brands that do relatively clean ingredients. Can you tell us more about Shilajit? I mean, if you've been following my page, you know I've been speaking about Shilajit for a few years now, and it's something that I actually take on a regular basis. Like, I take Shilajit every single day. And it's one of those things that, for the way it worked for me was that transitioning from veganism to more of a balanced diet. There was a period where the body was craving like dense nutrition and dense minerals. And sometimes it's not wise for a vegan to just go straight onto like eating meat or these sort of like high mineral foods. And having a supplement that can balance you out as well as check a lot of the problems that might have occurred when you were vegan, which, a lot of vegans can attest to having hormonal issues or hormonal imbalances. And Shilajit is one of those compounds that are just, it's such an all-rounder. And it's one of those things that it was a click, kind of like resonation with me, where it can remineralize the entire body whilst also fixing the endocrine system. So you'll start to see those hormones start balancing out. And then because your endocrine system's activated, you start to see the benefits of that. And so that's why it's really good for people transitioning from veganism to, whatever kind of balanced diet. But it's also generally just an amazing supplement you can have every single day, really. So today I wanted to just sort of like come on, see how you guys are, and speak a little bit about resistances. Resistance patterns. One of the things that comes to my mind is how we create resistances in our own lives and what resistances actually are and how they impact the way we see reality. Because ultimately, we are chained by our own resistance patterns to the way we see the world. And not many people know this. And through understanding how resistances actually affect us as people and the way we see our world and the choices we make in our lives paints a very clear picture of, a lot of people talk about ascending and becoming an ascended master. But through the understanding and gnosis of resistances and how they work, you'll understand that the path to ascension is a path or a downward spiral. It's going in, it's unlocking the darkness within inside you. And when I say darkness, I don't mean it in the traditional sense of darkness. I just mean the things that, because, on a spectrum of duality, darkness is just simply the absence of light. So it's nothing more than the absence of light. So by darkness, what I mean is you go into the places that have not been illuminated. This is the notion of uncovering your resistance patterns, because once you do that, a lot of people call it the shadow, but the way to look at it through resistances gives us a very great navigation to unlock these things, right? So according to my understanding and through what I've learned from the likes of John Whitman Ray, resistance is anything, an experience in life that we have not unconditionally loved. So anything other than unconditional love within any experience in life can be considered a resistance. Because only when we embrace the duality of everything we experience, we can only do that from a place of love and unconditional love within us. So when we go through life and we experience these different events and these different situations, whatever we haven't been able to process, we create a resistance in that moment. And so this is how the resistance is actually created. So we go through something in life, and when that situation occurs, there's so many possibilities for why that situation occurred, and the possibilities of the consequences of that situation. But oftentimes when we're going through the situation, we choose to believe a certain thing regarding that situation, right? And in this choosing, we create automatically a judgment. We judge that situation. And it's through that judgment that we enter one side of a duality. Remember, if unconditionally loving every experience is embodiment of all of the possibilities, that means you've encompassed the duality of that situation. You're present. You understand all angles and all possibilities. But when we make a judgment of a situation, when we choose to believe something about the way a situation has gone, we create a resistance in that moment, because we've made that judgment to the exclusion of everything else that could possibly be happening. Do you understand that? All right, so you might be sitting in, I'm trying to think of an example that kind of puts it into perspective. So you might be in the queue, it might be queue lining up for paying for your groceries or whatever, and somebody cuts in front of you. And it's within our reactive nature to get angry and flustered and frustrated. And we've judged the situation based on our own reactive patterns. And because we have judged that situation, we have instantly resisted. And we haven't encompassed the full duality of that situation. Why that person has done that? Why do we have to be so reactive to that? And because we haven't encompassed it, we further ingrain these resistance patterns within ourselves. Now, that's a very, very small sort of scenario, very, very day-to-day thing. But what's really, really important is our resistances are governed by our own reactive patterns. And our reactive patterns have occurred based on things we've resisted in the past that we keep on reaffirming. Now, a lot of these resistances can stem from childhood, right? You might have a resistance against an abandonment conflict, where maybe your mother didn't show you the love or show you the compassion or give you the needs that you needed to have as a child. Maybe you were bullied in school. And in these moments of not fully embracing the situation, because at that time, we're not taught how to do that. We're not taught how to let life flow. And so we create a resistance pattern. And every time this resistance pattern presents itself to us in life, or whenever situations that have formulated that resistance pattern presents themselves in our life, we continue to enact out our programming That is why most of us in today's world, those that are not aware of what's holding them back and the resistance patterns that they have, are programmed by their own reactive nature. That means a lot of the people you see on a day-to-day basis, it could be yourself, it could be your family, in one aspect, they are not themselves, because they're only just reaffirming and reenacting patterns that have occurred when they were younger that they haven't fully resolved. Right, this is why it's really, really important to learn about this stuff and start uncovering it. It's a knock on the door to unravel and dissipate the pattern. Absolutely, like every situation that we go through in life, every experience is a opportunity to discover more about ourselves. This is where it gets really deep, right? So if we've gone through something very, very traumatic in life, and I think everyone on this live can think about an experience in their lives where it was extremely traumatic. In that moment, in the instance in which that trauma occurred, we've chosen, we've judged everything about that situation. We've chose to believe a specific side, and maybe we've done that maybe we've chosen that specific duality for a reason, for our own protective nature. Maybe we didn't have the ability to encompass everything. However, we've chosen something. We've chosen to believe a specific way about it. And in that moment, that resistance, it ingrains in your body, right? So in that instance, whatever has occurred in the mental sphere, whatever has occurred in the emotional body, you've suppressed your emotion. Maybe you've chose to be angry, or maybe you haven't fully been able to embody the emotions you've felt. Whatever's occurred first in the emotional realms, it's translated to the physical body. Our physical body is nothing more than a mirror to our emotional and mental worlds. You'll see that time and time again. That is exactly why the eyes tell us what is happening in the body. That is exactly why the face and the whole body morphs into the character in which you've embodied in the mental and emotional world. A person who is extremely cut off from life, it's always translated in the physical body. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a very, very simple example. If you look at somebody whose handwriting is extremely spaced out, right? Simply their ability to write words on a piece of paper. We all have very unique handwriting, correct? My handwriting is very, very small and subtle, and all the letters and words are very, very close and compacted together. I know people who when they write, their words are all sort of like spaced out. The letters are all spaced out, the words are spaced out, and they write like 5 letters on one line where I've put 20 on one line. Something as subtle as this can tell us so much about our mental and emotional body. Because the person who writes so tight-knitted and so close together, these people tend to be people who hold things in, who don't let go so easily, who have a nature to be more inward, more yin. And you'll see this, pay attention to this. And those that have handwritings that are more spaced out and the letters are going like this, these people are more extroverted. These people are able to let things go. These people are more outward going. They're able to feel their emotions a little bit better. They're able to express their emotions a little bit better. Not to say either one is right or wrong, but this is just a simple way to understand how our physiology is simply a reflection of a lot of our mental and emotional states. So we see it in the eye. Look at this book here, right? I'll show you. I made a post on this, but my page is shadow banned, so not many people see this anyway. So it's called Ohashi's Book of Oriental Diagnosis, okay? And he shows you, literally every part of the body. We're talking about the facial structure, right? If the face is like this or the face is like this, it all means something. It all means something. Look at the lines on the forehead here. All of these resemble what a person is thinking, what a person is feeling. and their face morphs into that. It takes on that character, right? We've got eyebrows, right? Our eyebrows, the way our eyebrows develop, they tell us something about what is happening inside of our mind, inside of our mental and emotional states. There's a really good part here. I want to try and pull it up because it's see if I can find it. I have to go through it. Oh, here. Okay. So here we see the evolution of the face, right? This is a normal, healthy person. But as this person starts to encounter challenges within them in their lives, as this person develops resistance patterns that they do not overcome, their physiology, their face morphs, it changes, right? The ears start to get pointier. The eyebrows start to get pointier. They start to go, they start to change. Look how the facial features change until eventually you look like that. This person is addicted to drugs. They're an alcoholic. They don't know how to process their own emotions, right? They're hateful. They have no love in their hearts. This is the face. This is the face of the future, he says. And he says, look at the ears, it's pointed. The person literally looks like a vampire. I made the comparison to Rudolf Steiner's depiction of Ahriman, who is the embodiment of materialization, who is the embodiment of the technocratic world of identification with matter. That's the face, right? So, our body's telling us so much about what is happening up here, and this is why, uncovering your own resistance patterns is so important. So we were talking about how we create these patterns, right? We go through something extremely traumatic in our lives. What book is it? Sorry. The book is called Reading the Body, Ohashi's Book of Oriental Diagnosis, right? I've made a post on it, so if you check my feed, you'll see a post recently, and you can just kind of look at the book from there. So in that moment, we've had a trauma in our lives. We've created a resistance pattern in our lives, right? Because we've judged the situation. We've been unable to process it. Now, once that resistance has been created, like we've just discussed, the physiology changes. What happens in the physiology is we create crystals. We create crystalline structures in the body, inorganic salts and minerals that formulate a crystalline structure. I mean, our bodies are crystal in nature. But we create these little crystals that lock into different areas of the body. These can be areas of a specific trauma, whether we've broken our arm, like myself, that I have done. This can be crystals that block certain meridian pathways. A lot of the times people develop crystals within the spine that blocks cerebrospinal fluid, that blocks the whole chakra system, the meridian pathways, the ways the energy flows in the body. And they create these crystals, right? So these crystals, what these crystals actually contain is the thought, the word, and the memory. So these crystals contain the original thought pattern, the memories, and the thought, and the emotions. So when we've gone through that trauma as a child, or whenever you've gone through it, we've not been able to, because we've not been able to embody the whole experience and be present with that experience, we have suppressed to some degree part of the memory. That's why lots of people cannot remember their traumas fully, or can only remember them partially. We've not been able to express our emotions fully, and we've not been able to say exactly what we want to say in that situation. Not only with the face, Azim, it happens also with the voice. The face and voice changes time by time during this life. Exactly. The voice is another thing that changes massively as a person embodies a lifestyle that's full of resistance patterns and unable to process life's occurrences, poor adaptability to stress, all of those things. Absolutely, yeah. It's a good point. So like I said, like when we go through these traumas, right? So we've not been able to fully embody the thought pattern, the word pattern, or the emotions. And that crystal that's created in your body contains those, the original blueprint of that experience. Now, here's the thing you need to know about crystals. Why do people get crystals? You know, why do people seek crystals? Why is there healings based on crystals? Because certain crystals, and the structure of those crystals, they have a specific frequency. The crystals themselves embody a specific frequency. Many of these frequencies can be healing at certain points, right? So, I mean, not to say all crystals are healing, but you use specific crystals for specific, for a specific purpose. So a crystal for somebody, for someone can be healing, but for another it can be, sort of detrimental to some extent. So we get crystals because they embody a specific frequency, but they also attract another frequency, right? They attract frequencies, and they also give off frequencies. So if that crystal in your body that has formed contains the original resistance that you've created, what essentially is happening is that resistance, that crystal, keeps your resistance in a perpetual state of creation through the law of attraction, through resonance. That is why those that have deep resistances always attract the same experiences in life. You'll notice this. Whatever you resist persists, and that's how the crystal works in your body. So whatever you resist persists. Think of the things that you resist most in your life, and why are they the biggest challenges you face? Because you're constantly attracting situations that present themselves to you they present themselves for you as a chance for you to actually uncover this and understand what you're resisting, first and foremost. Secondly, you don't see this because you're bound by your own reactive nature. You are bound by how you react to these specific situations based on the first time you created that resistance in your life. And every time you act out and every time you become reactive of specific situations that always present themselves, you only reinforce the crystal. You only reinforce the resistance. So it only gets worse and it only gets worse and it only gets harder and it only gets harder. Until you realize that you are bound by your own resistive nature or resistance patterns, and you must uncover them. You must uncover them. And that's when it goes into a lot of trauma resolution. That's when it goes into a lot of philosophical embodiment and principles to help you deal with stress. It entails you to really revolutionize the whole way you see the world and each experience, right? And it means you must start unconditionally loving again. It means you must start being way more present in your situations. It must mean that you have to be very, very aware of your own reactive nature, and in split moments being able to draw yourself out and uncover and embody the full duality. So that's the way we do it, right? So we have an experience that comes to us, and we have previously judged that situation, reinforced the crystal, or created a resistance, because through judgment we have chosen by preference. This is the difference between judgment and discernment. Judgment, we choose for preference. Discernment, we choose by encompassing everything. So a person who is highly discerned is not a reactive person, but they encompass a full duality of any given situation. They understand the pros, the cons, and they're in the middle spectrum. The reactive person is like, nope, I'm choosing to behave and I'm choosing to be like this. Through their own reactive nature, maybe they don't even know they're choosing this. And oftentimes if you try and pull up a person who has chosen a specific way to see a situation and you bring that to their attention, they also get more reactive. So part of overcoming your resistances is really dealing with becoming present with your own reactive natures and also present in your moments and like present in your life, right? That's so important. And that's why, you know, if you can start implementing specific practices that help you become present in life, these are going to be profound for your healing. Because that's the other thing, right? It's like, if we've created resistances in our lives and we have these crystals in our bodies that are blocking meridian flows, that are blocking energy flow, that's literally hindering how the nerves pass through your body, that cuts off blood and shuts off circulation to specific organs, tissues, and glands, to specific endocrine organs, right? You've got these crystals that are literally doing this on a physical level, then your health is going to take a hit. This is one of the reasons, or one of the ways in which trauma and our inability to perceive life in a truthful manner can affect our health. And the fascia being dehydrated and constricted is what blocks the meridians. Yeah, exactly. That's all part of the parcel as well, because if you look at the fascia is essentially almost sort of like a crystalline structure, because if you rub the fascia, you create piezoelectricity. If you rub the fascia tissue on your body, this is a lymphatic drainage technique, by the way. You rub, lymphatic massages is not like deep tissue where you're like really rubbing into the body or going deep into the tissue. No. Lymphatic stimulation is light rubbing. It's like this. So if you've got, lymphatic nodes that need to be worked on, you do a little sort of circular rub, and then you do a fast light stroke. People think, well, what does that do? This fast light stroke creates what is called piezoelectricity. This piezoelectricity dissipates it dissipates lymphatic congestion. So any sort of blood proteins or toxins that have become trapped within the interstitial spaces around the cells, the piezoelectricity dissipates that. It opens that up to allow for better circulation. So you understand that the body is essentially crystal. Yes, fascia is silica crystal based. Yeah. So we are a giant crystal in itself. We are condensed light. We are light in a manifest form. And so when we've got crystals blocking energy flows within the channel, that's hardening the fascia too. If you think of women who hold pain and hold trauma, a lot of women hold that here, right? They hold that in the shoulders, in the back of the neck, and the fascia becomes hard. It becomes crystallized. Right? And so women love massages. When you give them a little massage at the back there, they love it because it helps sort of like release the fascia there. This is how our emotional states affect our physiology. But I just thought I'd come on and just start talking a little bit about resistances, because you're very used to a specific kind of content here on the page, but we can take things very, very deep here. And it's one of those things that I've been working on myself. Like these principles, I tell you, I've been embodying these principles for a while now, and it's not easy when you come face to face with your own reactive nature and you make a willing commitment, a faith-based commitment to start actually uncovering that and working on that. It's a challenge, it's tough, but you learn so much in the process, and it's highly, highly rewarding. So kind of just wanted to share that with you whilst I try to eat my ice cream, which is completely melted. And see what people have for questions. Right, so we have tons of questions actually from our stories. Okay, let's answer a few questions here then, right? So we're going to switch up a little bit. Can you confirm the eye colours change as a result of detoxing? Very, very good question, right? But the reason why you do an iridology reading, or why you want to get your eyes read, is the goal isn't to change the colour of your eyes, right? Because it's more of a serious study than just wanting to change the colour of the eyes. Having said that, I know numerous cases, numerous cases, my study suggests this, that eye colours do in fact change when you cleanse. It doesn't happen for everyone, but it happens for a lot of people. Especially blue eyes. In blue eyes, you see that most. Dark brown eyes can get and have been known to get a little bit lighter, but blue eyes or green or hazel eyes can start to turn more lighter blue. And this is because you've worked on the channels, because the eyes. This is where I think Dr. Robert Morse did a really great job on uncovering a lot of the lymphatic iridology, because in a blue eye, the lymph will appear it's more of a lymphatic constitution. So you'll see the lymph in the eye, which is kind of this sort of like musty, yellowy sort of colour, and can range from yellow to brown even. And as you start to open up your channels of elimination, as you start to cleanse, as you start to strengthen your organs, tissues and glands, you'll start to see that drain throughout the eyes, because that's what's happening in the body. And so the more of the blue starts to come out of the eye. It's very, 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 very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. My brother had blue eyes when he was a kid. Now it became green. Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very common thing, right? Was your brother vaccinated? That's one of the things I would ask, because, the vaccine will do that. And if we're not fed properly as a child, and we're fed, pasteurized milk, baby formulas, and, all kinds of crap, sweets and chocolate and stuff, your eye colours will change over time. That's why a lot of people will say they're born with blue eyes and then it starts to change. People think this is a natural occurrence, and I think there is an element in which there is a natural sort of like a growth, but a lot of the time it's the toxemia within the body that is developed through the vaccination programs, through poor nutrition that our parents unknowingly have given us, things like this. Is green good then? This is what iridology is, and it's good that you mentioned this. So when we're talking about eyes, we're not looking at it and we're like, that's a bad eye, or like, if you have green eyes then this is it. No, there's two true eye colors. There's two true eye colors, which is the blue and the brown. But there are types that come in between that. And a green eye doesn't necessarily mean you're lymphatically congested and you're extremely toxic, because we have to actually look at the iris as a whole. And you might have a green eye, but there's not much in your eye detailing any sort of weaknesses. We develop these eye colors through our parents and our parents' parents, who most likely started to embody to embody a lifestyle that maybe wasn't so healthy, or they've actually adapted because maybe they've migrated somewhere else, and so their whole physiology is adapted to a new way of living. And these things can change the iris color. But as an iridologist, you have to look at the iris as a whole, and you have to look at all the signs and how they correspond with each other. And it's not just a matter of like, oh, you have a green eye, you're toxic. It's not like that. I had a brown eye and now it turned brown-green. Interesting, because, one question I'll ask for you, have you embarked on a healing journey? Have you changed your life in some way that's benefited you? I thought I spilled it then. What other questions do we have here? Yes, I done a detox and the colour of my eyes have gone brighter, so it looks more green. Yeah, exactly. That's what will happen. That's what will happen. It's not even just the eyes. The whole face becomes brighter. You'll see those that do really good thorough cleansing, and all the the area even around the eyes, it just sort of glows, and it's like, wow, you look glowing. But again, it's also that toxemia that you've gotten out that has, once the toxemia is settled in the body, in the tissues, organs, and glands, that's reflexed into the eyes. Your eyes actually telling you need to take a look at this part of your body and we need to cleanse it out. Now, iridology doesn't diagnose toxemia, but we can gather an indication that there are some forms of, toxins within that specific tissue, organ, or gland. And when you cleanse that out, your eyes start to also change. How long should you detox to see these types of results? It's a good question. It all depends on how willing you are. I've learned of, and I know of cases where eye color is changed almost instantly. If you have a deep trauma that's really suppressed your physiology, and you can do releases, certain traumatic releases, full healing. I'm not just talking about superficial stuff. Eyes can change almost instantly as soon as that trauma has been healed, been embodied, been re-experienced, been transmuted. Iris color can change. Detoxing, you can give yourself a couple of years and you'll see that the eyes gradually go. A year you might be able to see something, but it's definitely thorough. You have to be on it. You have to be committed. So yeah, it's not even just about detoxing, because even if you heal emotions, if you heal suppressed pain, that will change the color of your eye as well. Does fruit fasting help detox the eyes? Yeah, it can. Fruits are, to me, they are the number one detoxifying foods on the earth. People believe that the body is just supposed to detox itself. Yeah, to an extent it is in an ideal world, right? We don't live in an ideal world, because the elements that are involved in detoxification, if they're shut down, if your channels of elimination are weak, if your skin is weak, if it's not perspirating, if it's not breathing properly, if your respiratory system is suppressed due to hardened catheter within the lungs, if your kidneys are shot, right? If your bowels is backed up, full of all kinds of nasties in there, you tell me how you're going to detox. You tell me how your body is going to detox. It's not going to detox. It's going to shove shit where it can. Your liver will shove toxins wherever it can, right? That's why we start getting breakouts in the skin. That's why we start having eczema and psoriasis, because your body doesn't have a way to get rid of it. It's finding any way possible. So it's pushing it out through wherever way it can. The acids are coming out your skin now. Your acids are not supposed to come out your skin. Your acids are supposed to come out your colon, your kidneys. All right? So, yeah, at one level in an ideal world, the body will take care of itself. It's always taking care of itself. But when it's shot and it's down and it's compromised, it goes into fight or flight. It's like, shit, man, I have all this waste coming in now. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? So it starts putting it. One of the things the liver will do, when your bowels is full and it's full of shit, right, and it's full of toxicity, your liver will pick that up. Your liver will get the bad end of the stick, because now all of that toxemia has to be processed by the liver. If the bile ducts or the ducts within the liver are starting to be congested, your liver's like, I can't handle this. I cannot handle this toxemia. Where's it going to go? It's going to go to the lungs. Pneumonia, right? Seasonal colds, flus. Right, this is where that all starts happening. Bernard Jensen made a really, really good connection between the bowels and the lungs. Right, so fruit fasting will detox you. You'll get all that stuff out. I mean, to some extent, it's not going to get it out fully. You're going to need some helpers, maybe some different kinds of fasts, maybe some herbal remedies that are going to be astringent, so they're going to pull this stuff out. And it's, we do have helpers, which is great. What other questions do we have? Let's see. Okay, so I have tons of questions here that I could go into, but I think what I'm going to do is we're going to call this ice cream night chill an end, and I'll hop on another live where I hope you guys can join me again, and we'll go through some other questions. We'll go through some detox stuff. I want to do a live on uncovering mold, uncovering parasites, uncovering the terrain, because I feel like that's a very, very, very important thing right now. But yeah, this live was really good. I mean, I've not been live for a while, and usually I have a lot more people on here, but I think my account for some reason right now is just highly, highly shadow banned. I doubt many of you even seeing my posts that I'm making. But it's okay, we continue going. We've been through worse than this. We had our account shot, A lot of you might not even know that I had an account that was almost, just below double this size back in 2021 or 2020, before I went Mexico. And we're on like 370k. And that's when I started to talk about germ theory, because I was possibly one of the first accounts to start putting out content of, debunking the germ theory. And when I started to do that, the night before moving to Mexico, literally the night before, I mean, me and my wife, we were like, okay, we're moving to Mexico, right? And it's like we had this life set up. We were going to spend at least a year there in Mexico. And you have to also realize that a lot of my finances come through Instagram. And it's we're setting up to go. The night before the flight, my account got deleted. That was rough. 370k I'd spent every day putting out tons of content. It was 2-3 pieces on average. It was 2 or 3 pieces of content every single day without a miss for 4 years. And then my account got taken because I started to speak about germ theory. I started to, back then it was the introduction of all this fact checking stuff. That was when it was first started to come about, and they were really cranking down on any information that was going against vaccines and stuff like that. Now I can say vaccine on this and nothing's going to happen much. And that happened the night before we went to Mexico, which was definitely very, very interesting. But yeah, that's it's all part and parcel of life. You go through these things, and I was like, what? We had an amazing run, and there's going to be still people there that want to, still support my page. So I just made a new one, and surely enough, we grew that to where it is now. And so I think that's a lot worse than being a bit shadow banned now, which is totally fine. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. It was good chatting to you all, and I'm going to do a lot more of these lives, so definitely stay tuned to my account. I don't know if you can add my account to your favorites. Follow me on, subscribe to my YouTube channel, so you can click the link in my bio, subscribe over there, because I am going to get a lot more content over in YouTube. And also, before I leave, let me know in the comments right now if you guys would like me to do an IG live series with 10 to 15 guests, where we're essentially going to start uncovering common held myths in life. So I'm talking getting people on speaking about truth about parasites, molds, terrain theory, germ theory. We're going to talk about, electroculture. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. If you would like an IG live series where I get on really great guests and have really good conversations with people that I trust, let me know. Drop an emoji, drop a heart or whatever, and I'm going to start making that happen, because I feel like we can create huge waves with that. Okay, perfect. Let's do it. Okay, so you're going to start seeing some stuff coming out regarding that, and it's encouraging to see that you guys also want it, so let's do it. Definitely also, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm going to be posting a lot there. You can access that through the link in my bio. And if you haven't already, join my free detox group. We're doing now one live group discussion call on Zoom. So this is where I'm gonna present certain things, like anything that's kind of come to me the last month. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have group discussions. We can see each other face to face, so it's not through a live like this. It's like we're on Zoom. We can see each other. We can have discussions. There's some amazing people in my free detox group. Honestly, amazing, truly great souls in there. So if you want to be surrounded by people who are going to encourage you, that are going to support you on your healing journey, as well as me, I'm in there, I'm spending a lot of time in that group, then click the link in my bio. It's free to join. All that's required is there is no anonymity. So like, if you want to be a part of the group, you've got to be willing to put a profile picture of yourself, write a nice bio. If you don't do this, you won't be accepted in the group, because we don't want, social media is great for anonymity and for people who don't want to show themselves. Like, it's okay, totally. But that group is specifically made for those that, if we want to build some form of community, I gotta know who I'm speaking to, right? So I think that's kind of a reasonable thing to ask for. But yeah, wonderful group. We have 2.3k members there. I've grown it for the last sort of like seven months, and all the content's free. Amazing souls. We have really great discussions. People are putting, they're making their own posts in that group. People with their own knowledge, their own expertise, are sharing things that are so valuable for others. And again, we're now having this monthly group discussion call, which is going to be really powerful as well. So I hope to see some of you guys over there. But in the meantime, I'm going to just finish drinking my ice cream, because it's all melted. And I'll see you guys on another live, or if not, you'll see me making some posts over the next few days as well. So thank you for joining, everyone. Much love.